Got a new project I'm really excited about. 3 wooden pet names. I really enjoyed hearing about this lady's fur family. 1 dog and 2 cats. It was neat trying to come up with the designs for each of these types of pets. Now I had to resaw this wood, so that I'm going to have to sand this with my Festool for a little bit to try and get all those marks out from resawing, but then it's off to the next step of the project.
The next step in my project was to use self-adhesive and blue tape to get my designs from Inkscape and get them glued to the board. Now, these are on Wormy Maple or Ambrosia Maple, and there's some really good markings through this wood, but as you can see, there's some plain spots, so I really wanted to make sure my guys had some good markings in them. So what I've learned along the way is to use a Sharpie to mark so I can get my pieces exactly where I want them to go.
Next, it's to the drill press. Got to get inside those letters, and there's got to be a hole there so you can fit your scroll saw blade in so you can get to cutting. Now, sometimes when I cut, I get a little bit of a bump where I've started and stopped. I like to sand as I go, and I have a little handheld file that I use because I have a magnifying glass that's attached to my scroll saw, and it's just a lot easier for me to see through that magnifying glass versus doing it all after. At times when I'm working, I've had to stop. I try to stop in areas where I can take it to the sander quite easily if I've created little ripples when I restart. I don't know what it is, but sometimes when I restart stuff, it gets wobbly, and it's nice to have easy access so I can sand those ripples right out. You also come to these parts of these letters where there are tight corners. Now I back it off so I can make the turn quite easily, otherwise you'd mar the wood. Now my hand's in the way, but as you can see, I did that corner quick, and it was really easy. Molly is made out of ambrosia maple, or wormy maple if you prefer. In the past, when I've worked with wormy maple, I tend to get a little bit congested. Something about that wood. So I've decided, even though we have a great dust collection system, I'm going to break out the respirator when working with this wood. It's not that comfortable, and sometimes it pushes my glasses up. So it seems like I have an extra astigmatism that wasn't there before. But I'll take a little bit of discomfort any day versus not being able to breathe. Here's the moment of truth. Evidently, I forgot to turn the mic on during my last segment. I was peeling, so like all of these guys, if you can see, have the blue tape and the sketch on it. So I now have completed cutting Molly. She looks pretty good. I love how the wormy maple has this. That's a way to show different colors for your pet. But because this is going to hang on the wall and it's thinner, I can't use my mop sander to round the edges like I typically do. So I'm going to have to probably start with 100 and then go to 220 and round the edges by hand. Don't want any rough spots in any of these areas. And then make sure that I go with the grain to get all the scratches out afterwards. Hopefully, because these L's were really wobbly when I was peeling the tape off, hopefully I don't break it as I do it. That's happened before. So far, so good though.
Okay, it's the moment of truth for my shadow wooden pet name. It always amazes me how long it takes to do some of this stuff. You wouldn't think that it would take me 5 minutes to peel the tape off of this guy, It comes off in little strips like that and leaves little things like this. And you have to repick at it. I never know until I get all the tape off and then put my contacts in to know exactly how well this turned out. Everything's just a little bit crisper and clearer when I have my contacts in. So I'm going to go over this with a fine-tooth comb and a magnifying glass to see how I did. See if there's any little indents that I need to get out. And again, I'll have to sand this by hand because it's too delicate for my mop sander. But that's really, I like that wood. It's good looking. Good Shadow Kitty. Now I'm trying to decide if I want to Danish oil these before I put coats of poly on. This lady's pets are a flame tip Siamese, a fuzzy black cat, and a black and white border collie. So I'm not sure if you can see the difference. This is a sample that I did some Danish oil on. I feel like it brings the green out a lot better. This is the untouched version. Untouched version. Danish oil. I think I'm going to. Hopefully she will like it. I hope these look really nice on her wall. What a fun idea.